The afternoon sun filtered through the blinds of the office, casting long, golden stripes across my cluttered desk. I had just finished a grueling meeting that left me drained and slightly bitter, scrolling aimlessly through my emails when I noticed a message from my coworker, Mara. Mara, always bright, magnetic, and effortlessly charming, had that knack for making even mundane moments feel alive. She had a way of slipping into people's lives quietly, like a gentle melody that you didn't notice until it lingered in your mind. The message was casual, almost innocent. "Hey, want to come over for dinner tonight? My parents are visiting, and I thought it'd be nice to meet someone from work outside the office." My first instinct was hesitation. I didn't know Mara's parents, and the last thing I wanted was an awkward evening pretending to be anyone I wasn't. But there was something in her tone, warm and persuasive, that pulled me in. I typed back, nervous but intrigued, "Sure, sounds nice." I didn't know it then, but this simple, seemingly harmless text was about to become one of the most emotionally intense nights of my life. Before I go any further, if you believe in kindness and second chances, hit the like button, leave a comment, share this story, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Kindness Chronicles. Your support helps us share more stories that remind us that even the smallest acts of courage and honesty can change lives. That evening, as I walked through the quiet suburban streets toward Mara's house, I felt a mixture of curiosity and unease. The golden sunlight reflected off the windows of neatly kept homes, and the distant sound of children playing made the world feel deceptively peaceful. I rehearsed polite greetings in my head, imagining the questions her parents might ask, wondering if I could handle their scrutiny without crumbling. Mara had warned me not to overthink it, but overthinking was my default. When I reached her door, she greeted me with that radiant smile, and the tension I carried melted, replaced by a flutter of excitement I hadn't expected. Her parents were already seated in the living room, a warm, welcoming space filled with soft music and the scent of freshly baked bread. Before I could even process the moment, Mara nudged me gently, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Just go with it," she whispered, and before I could ask what she meant, she turned to her parents and said, "Mom, Dad, this is my boyfriend." My heart froze mid-beat. I could barely process her words. My mind raced. Boyfriend? How? Why? I had come here as a friend, a coworker, and now I was thrust into a role I had no rehearsal for. Her parents' faces shifted from polite curiosity to bright, expectant smiles, and I realized there was no turning back. The initial moments were excruciating. I stumbled through introductions, my voice tight with anxiety, my hands trembling slightly as I shook hands and answered questions. But something remarkable happened. Mara's parents were kind, patient, and genuinely warm. Their smiles never faltered, their questions never felt like an interrogation, and slowly, the tension inside me began to ease. Mara's father, a tall man with silvering hair and kind eyes, asked about my interests, and I found myself opening up more honestly than I had expected. Her mother, with her gentle demeanor, listened intently as I spoke about my life, my struggles at work, and the little joys I found in everyday moments. Dinner itself was a dance of emotions. Mara had prepared a simple meal of spaghetti, fresh salad, and a dessert of homemade apple pie. As we ate, laughter gradually replaced the awkwardness, and I realized I was beginning to enjoy myself. Mara had a way of guiding the conversation, slipping inside my thoughts and coaxing out stories I didn't know I wanted to share. I found myself laughing at stories I had never told anyone, feeling a sense of belonging that surprised me. The mischief of her initial trick faded, replaced by an unexpected warmth that filled the room, but the night wasn't without its inner struggles. Every now and then, Mara's eyes would meet mine across the table, sparkling with mischief and anticipation, and I felt the weight of the lie pressing against me. I wondered if she had planned this all along to teach me something, to show me that vulnerability could be met with kindness rather than judgment. It was both terrifying and strangely liberating. I realized that honesty wasn't just about words, it was about courage, about stepping into moments that scared you and trusting the people around you to respond with empathy. As dessert was served, Mara's father leaned back in his chair and asked quietly, almost to himself, "It's rare to meet someone who genuinely listens and cares. She's lucky to have found a friend like you." My throat tightened, and I struggled to keep my composure. I had not expected this, and yet, the words sank deep into my heart, planting seeds of courage and self-worth that had long been dormant. Mara squeezed my hand under the table, a subtle gesture that said everything without words, and I realized that the evening had transformed into something I never anticipated, not just a dinner, but a lesson in trust, acceptance, and the unexpected beauty of human connection. The conversation turned to childhood memories, family traditions, and the quirks of growing up. Mara's parents shared stories of their own youthful adventures and the mistakes that shaped their lives, and I found myself laughing and crying in turns. Mara had orchestrated an evening where barriers were gently dismantled, where pretense dissolved, and where a human connection, raw and unpolished, took its rightful place. I realized how starved I had been for this kind of authentic interaction, how easily I had wrapped myself in work and routines, avoiding vulnerability, fearing judgment. But in this small, sunlit dining room, vulnerability felt safe, and the warmth of acceptance was almost overwhelming. By the time the evening wound down, I felt transformed. Mara's parents had invited me to stay in touch, to join them for family gatherings, and to be part of their world in ways I never imagined. I had arrived as a hesitant coworker and left as someone who felt seen, appreciated, and oddly celebrated. Mara, sitting beside me on the porch as I prepared to leave, whispered, "See? Sometimes you just have to trust people. Life surprises you when you let it." Her words lingered as I walked down the quiet streets back to my apartment, the night air cool and soothing, carrying the echoes of laughter, shared stories, and the subtle thrill of human kindness. In the days that followed, Mara's trick became a cherished memory, a story I would recall when I doubted myself or feared the unknown. It reminded me that sometimes, life's most beautiful moments come from the unexpected, from risks that feel small but ripple far beyond what we imagine. It reminded me that honesty and courage are powerful tools, that human connection is worth more than perfection, and that kindness, whether given or received, can transform ordinary nights into unforgettable chapters of our lives. If this story touched your heart, please show your support by liking, commenting, and sharing this video. Your engagement helps us continue sharing stories that inspire, heal, and remind us of the beauty of human kindness. Before we close, I'd like to make a small request. Take a moment today to reach out to someone you've hesitated to connect with, to show a gesture of kindness, or to embrace a small risk in your life. Sometimes, these moments, like the one I experienced that evening, have the power to change everything. As I lay in bed that night, reflecting on the evening, I realized that Mara's simple trick had gifted me something far greater than I could have imagined, a lesson in courage, a reminder that trust can be met with warmth, and the humbling truth that even the most unexpected situations can lead to profound human connection. And as sleep claimed me, I smiled, knowing that life, with all its surprises, had just taught me one of its most beautiful lessons, that kindness, honesty, and a touch of bravery can turn a simple evening into a memory that lasts a lifetime.